So we're sitting here with Zews, coach of Team Liquid. They just got off qualifying for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Are you surprised by that?
I wouldn't say I'm surprised because I know of how hard we've been practicing and how much potential our lineup has. This last match, though, we were in a situation where we were not in control of it. We depended on outside factors, and thankfully they worked out in our favor. We won our match. We did what we needed to do, and with another help of another result, we qualified and are through.
Right. So, I mean, it was a roller coaster pretty much the whole group stages because you guys started a little rough against Na'Vi, losing 16-4, and then you won the next two matches, and then lost a tough one to Mouse Sports, and then you didn't control your own destiny. So, what did you say after that first Na'Vi match?
So after that first Na'Vi match, they're an amazing squad, but the way we handled ourselves, our communication was completely off. Our morale, we just weren't in the match, and so afterward, we just gathered everybody, talked it out, just locker room talk, we needed to get out of our own heads and started performing. We knew we would be playing off against North American squads, which we're used to, so that took a little bit of the edge off, and like you said, with the 2-1, after that, we came into the day knowing we had probably the hardest opponents of the groups ahead of us in terms of performance and how they were, but we knew that we had to fight for every inch in these matches, and after the Mouse one, which was really close, there were a few fundamental mistakes in the pressure situations, which we already talked about and fixed. We knew that this North match, we just had to do our own part, and we had to get our win no matter what happened on the other side. We had to show that we're here to compete against everyone, not just when it matters.
Speaking of those pressure situations, Liquid's been here before where they are the true only American team. Right? You have SK, they're North American, but they're really not North American geographically speaking.
Yeah, I agree.
Does that add pressure to the guys?
I don't think it adds pressure. I think it makes them motivated when we have events in NA because they want their families to be here and see them. They want to have the contact with the fans, and a lot of times you have to make it out of these group stages to have that contact, or else you don't get to perform, and what in our opinion is the coolest aspect of our job, which is playing in front of the fans and having that contact. So there's no added pressure in terms of performance or anything like that, but it drives us a little better when we know we have these events for sure.
It's been, I think, like a year since the coaching rule changed where Valve said you can't be as an in-game coach as much as before.
Yes.
Do you prep as a coach? Do you prep for events differently? For, like, say, a Valve event or event like this where you can coach in the match or anything like that?
So, and this event is the same as Valve majors. You can't.
They do treat it the same.
It's the same. It's everyone adopted the rule. Once Valve said it, everyone just adopts it and follows the protocol. We only get to speak in pauses now, which in a matter of way I think is fair. As before, when I could have said anything at any time, it was a little bit overpowered, but I'd still like to see them leave at least freeze time for us. But most of my coaching job comes from actual preparation. These matches are 45 minutes. This isn't what we do most of the time. What comes is the bulk of the 3, 4, 5, 6 months that we're practicing and boot camping together, and that's where coaches actually have their most impact, I think.
So we were looking at the standings or the playoffs beforehand. I think you guys are playing Envious.
That's correct.
Okay. You have short turnaround time. How do you guys feel against that matchup? Envious is a weird team in the sense of going into this tournament. A lot of teams, a lot of players, or a lot of experts, quote unquote, say that they might be on the downside of that French shuffle. How do you guys prep for that?
I think everyone thinks that because G2, the team that came with what's labeled as the better parts of the team, was labeled a super team, but that's not how CS works. It's not individual, it's about a whole group and getting the correct mixture of personalities and drive and talent, of course. And I think Envious is not as consistent as they'd like to be, but when they are in those days in their peaks, such as they were today to qualify, they are just an insane team. So for our preparation tomorrow, there's, like I said, there's not much that we can do outside. It's like this every time. We will go over what we think that will happen in the vetoes. We will go over what in the maps that we think we will be playing, the style that we think we should be doing, just general gameplay, and that's all you can do at the end of the day.
All right, Zews. Well, hey, man,
Zews, yeah,
thank you. If we could, before we let you go, like we said, we're full audio. We're old school. We don't do cameras. If I could just get you to say a radio liner, which is basically saying, hey, this is Zews from Team Liquid, and you're listening to TCR.
All right. Hey, this is Zews from Team Liquid, and you guys are listening to TCR.
All right,
Awesome.
thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Hey,
Good luck.
Thank you, man.
Zeus,
Good luck, man.